Donald Trump got 8% of the black vote in 2020. Yeah, in 2020.
He's 20% of the men.
He's polling 22%. The highest person
First of all,
in modern history is
Mr. Speaker, if you believe that Donald Trump's going to get 20% of the black vote, I will sell you a bridge in Brooklyn.
No, I don't. But I don't believe. I do not believe. If you look at the last election, 2020, Biden only won the election by 48,918 votes, and he had an approval rating of +10. He's now -20.
Bakari Sellers takes on Bill Maher, Ben Shapiro, and Kevin McCarthy in today's video, where a simple political discussion on Trump's 2024 strategy and the Iran deal quickly turns into a fiery clash. And Bakari doesn't just respond, he breaks down every point they make, exposing the gaps in their logic on race, foreign affairs, and the GOP's shaky moral direction, while even Maher struggles to control the rising tension as Bakari flips the entire conversation. So let's jump in and see how Bakari Sellers shuts down Bill Maher and his conservative guests on Real Time with Bill Maher.
So, but I mean, I think. And you know what else happened in that election when he won so big? Do you know how many Republicans in Congress lost? Incumbents? 0. First time since '94.
Honestly, I'm gonna be.
Democrats.
You must really miss this shit.
I know.
No, really, I can see how.
I can walk you through anything.
You got politics in your blood.
I was just going to say, I disagree with you, but I honestly find it refreshing that you will even articulate that Biden won the race and Trump lost. And so
that's what I'm saying. Good as it gets, Republican.
I mean, the bar is in hell, but
I know, but that's important.
That is important.
The biggest problem that Biden has is that in 2020, the increase in voter turnout was so massive from 2016, unprecedentedly massive. The voting base increased by about 22 million voters. Normally, it increases maybe 4 or 5 million voters per election cycle. What that means is that you're probably going to get closer to a reversion to the mean. I'd be shocked if you even get as many voters as you had in 2020 and 2024. And a lot of the voters who are not going to be, quote unquote, showing up, by which I mean, like not using mail-in ballots.
What Democrats are doing to one another right now, they're guaranteeing Biden's going to lose. They're weakening in every day. And in the polling, Biden's the strongest one.
I actually argue that Democrats have done more damage to Joe Biden since January 27th, June 27th, and probably June 27th.
The only person who's done worse still is himself. Biden.
Well, I mean, but at the end of the day, what I've been telling everyone is people analyze this race wrong. I mean, you literally have 3 choices in this race. You have Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and the couch. Those are your choices. And the couch is one of the most amazing candidates in the history of American politics.
Remember,
it runs no ads, and people choose it all the time. I mean,
Bobby Kennedy just shot up and went, what about the worm in my brain? All right. Well, what do you make of the Democratic Socialists of America, DSA, pulling its endorsement of AOC for WTF? Okay. What do you make of the Democratic Socialists of America pulling its endorsement of AOC for not being sufficiently anti-Israel? Did that happen?
It did.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah. Well, I mean,
I was like I was in the who cares category.
Yeah. Same. I'm just looking for. Honestly, I'd like for the Democratic Party to pull its support from the pro-Hamas wing of the Democratic Party. That would be.
Well, I actually think
this is.
I think that
even without the age, but this you should care because even without the age issue with Biden, there's going to be the Genocide Joe protesters at the convention. This is a split in the party.
But let me articulate this. I think that both parties have a real issue with anti-Semitism. And I don't think it has any place. I mean, I've seen the ads with the Star of David that you all ran in different House races.
Right.
I've heard the words that have come out of Donald Trump's mouth before. I mean, we can't turn a blind eye to the anti-Semitism that's in the Republican Party. We've seen January 6th. We saw people in Charlottesville yelling all the worst.
Here's where this comes in.
But hold on. Can I finish this thought? Can I finish this thought? Well, sure. Go for it. The way I wanted to bring this full circle is that, yes, Democrats have to combat the anti-Semitism that's within our own party as well. It needs to be rooted out completely from both parties. That's my only point. It has no place. It has no place in the American political.
I agree. I obviously agree, and I personally have been targeted more than probably anyone else in America by alt-right anti-Semites. Okay, like truly by the statistics. As a conservative. Now, let me say that the vast disproportion of people who are anti-Semitic in America right now, unfortunately, I wish this were not true. I wish it were a non-bipartisan issue and there were no anti-Semitism. But the vast disproportion is inside the Democratic Party right now, which is why the Democratic Party seems unable to divide off from, say, Ilhan Omar or Rashida Tlaib. Yeah. It's why they've had such trouble in simply declaring the obvious, which is that Hamas should surrender. It's why Joe Biden, by the way, the other night, even at that foreign policy supposedly masterful display, he had a tough time explaining exactly. He didn't mention the word hostages one time when he was discussing Israel and Hamas. And there are 5 American hostages sitting in Hamas tunnels right now, and he's still talking about slow-walking military aid to Israel to finish off that war. That is because he is deeply concerned that he's going to lose that part of his base that is anti-Semitic.
This exchange between Bakari Sellers and Ben Shapiro captures the collision between real-world facts and rigid ideology. And what stands out is how Bakari, without getting defensive, reflects a deeper truth about modern U.S. politics, especially on issues like race, voter turnout, and the moral contradictions that exist in both parties. And when he questions the idea of Trump pulling 20% of the black vote, it isn't negativity, but a reality based on data. Because no modern Republican has crossed even 15%, with most staying near 8%. And even Trump, despite the record gains claims, only reached around 12% among black men according to Edison exit polls. And these numbers don't suddenly change overnight because of viral content, when voter feelings, especially in marginalized communities, are shaped by real experiences instead of political marketing. And when the discussion shifts to anti-Semitism, Bakari's response shows maturity as he admits there are issues within the Democratic Party, but refuses to let conservatives like Shapiro paint their side as spotless, because the far right has been a home for hate groups for decades. From Charlottesville's chants to the Tree of Life synagogue shooting, proving that extremism doesn't live in just one political camp. And Bakari reminds everyone that moral responsibility isn't tied to a party but applies to all, calling for both sides to confront bigotry directly, something Shapiro's one-sided framing avoids. And Sellers isn't just debating here. He's urging viewers to look past team loyalty and accept the uncomfortable truth that democracy only survives when integrity matters more than ideology.
Let's be fair. There should be no anti-Semitism, but it's not equal. There's only one party in Congress that equated Hamas equal to America in the same place.
Well, I mean, but
they're sitting elected to
let me also just call bullshit for 1 second, because there was a $31 billion MOU that was signed by what president? Barack Obama. F-35s were delivered to Israel under what president? Barack Obama. The Iron Dome was created under what president? Barack Obama. And so, I've been somebody who's always said that Israel is an American value. I've always said that. October 7th was one of the most devastating days that I've ever seen with my own eyes.
The Democratic Party is not the same party that Obama had today.
Wait, hold on. It actually is. And Barack Obama signed into law the Iran nuclear deal. Barack Obama made Benjamin Netanyahu walk out of the back door of the White House. Barack Obama was the most anti-Israel president in the history of the United States.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
No,
yes, he was.
Every American
the only possible
president
exception might have been H.W. during his term.
I think that's a teapot, whatever, a teapot. But every president, every American president has been a strong backer of Israel.
And that's what I just
we're talking about the rank and file now. We're talking about people now.
But this is also the problem with the issue and the conversation that we're having. Because back in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way through those early times, Israel was truly a bipartisan American value type of conversation. Until Bibi Netanyahu came and spoke at this.
No.
And I'm just telling you, those two men did not like each other. They despised each other personally.
For a person who served in Congress during that time and watched
you can see the rifts and how
it was Obama and Iran cutting a deal directly against, where Schumer even sat there and was quiet, where Steny Hoyer let it go through. That was the turning point. No, never again. We would go to Israel together. Never again. He broke it.
This part shows how Bakari Sellers stands firm, while Ben Shapiro and Bill Maher try to reshape history to fit a narrow political story. And when Shapiro calls Barack Obama the most anti-Israel president in U.S. history, Bakari doesn't even need to push back because the facts undo that claim on their own. Since under Obama, Israel received record levels of military aid, $31 billion in defense support, including F-35 jets and the Iron Dome system that literally protects Israeli civilians, which is not anti-Israel but strategic cooperation based on security, not blind politics, And what Shapiro and Maher overlook is that Obama's careful approach toward Israel's right-wing leadership wasn't hostility, but accountability. Because while he backed Israel's defense, he also challenged Netanyahu's settlement expansions and harsh rhetoric, something even many voices inside Israel viewed as barriers to peace. And that's exactly Bakari's point, that supporting Israel doesn't mean agreeing with every move its government makes. And Maher's claim that the Democratic Party has changed since Obama also falls apart because polls show most Democrats still support Israel's right to exist while also believing Palestinians deserve humane treatment, which isn't extremism but moral consistency. And the U.S.-Israel relationship has always moved forward through diplomacy rather than unconditional approval. And Bakari's calm response highlights the contrast between political loyalty and real principles. Because while Shapiro and Maher frame foreign policy like a loyalty test, Bakari brings nuance and reminds everyone that true leadership means standing with allies while also standing for human rights.
The partisanship that we are discussing right now, the fact that this has become a partisan issue is why it's wrong.
Okay.
And I tell people that all the time.
We agree on that.
Yeah, but I have to call bullshit on this.
On me or him?
Him.
Okay.
On this with the Iran deal, because I hear this all the time. And this is kind of germane to our discussion before about the immunity, because the fear is that, as soon as the president leaves office, he's going to be prosecuted and persecuted for something he did while he was in office. And the Supreme Court said, but yeah, presidents while in office do things that they think at the time are best for the country. I didn't think going into Iraq that George Bush did was the best thing for the country, but I think he did. And you can't go after a president for that. Obama thought making a deal with Iran was the best thing for this country, and it may have been. We don't know, because your asshole boyfriend pulled out. And
we do know.
The idea...
No.
The idea was to bring Iran, which is not a country of unsophisticated people, into the fold, into the family of nations.
And here's how...
And it was a very effective deal. They would not have been able to produce a bomb for the next 15 years. We have the facts of this.
Let me return
it had a
with facts
sunset
on the
provision
bullshit.
on the Iran deal that allowed them at a certain point to have a bomb. Not only that, as John Kerry, the Secretary of State, openly acknowledged, it allowed for the development of ballistic missile technology. It made Iran part of the world economy again. When Joe Biden came into office and reoriented the Middle East away from the Abraham Accords and started trying to recut a deal with Iran, Iran got significantly stronger, and it is now Iranian agents in Yemen, in Lebanon,
well, they're going to have a bomb a lot. They're going to have the bomb a lot sooner.
But you know what? But you know how they paid for it? When Biden came to office, they produced 4,000 barrels a day. Today, they produce more than 1 million barrels a day.
Of
oil. We still have the sanctions against their oil, but Biden allows them to sell it. That's where they started funding all the terrorism around. You want to know what happened on October 7th? Never would have happened had
when the
Biden
bomb goes
not allowed
off,
the money to go.
I don't really care how they paid for it, Kevin.
But they couldn't have done it if they didn't have the resources.
No, but the goal is to stop Iran from getting a bomb.
Exactly.
And that's what the Iran nuclear deal was supposed to do.
It allowed in the agreement for them to have one.
Take Israel's perspective for just 1 second.
Why
No, but I mean, if one party has a relatively strong interest in Iran not getting a bomb, it would be Israel. More than the United States. They're the regional actor that Iran has threatened with.
Plenty of people
Did Israel support the Iran deal or not?
Netanyahu did not.
No.
There were plenty of people in Israel who did.
That is not true. That's not
of course
true.
it is. There was no dissent in Israel. You think Jews don't argue about this?
Bill, please name. Seriously, please.
I've read it. I've read their columns.
Please name the political party that endorsed the Iran deal in Israel.
I don't remember. It was 10 years ago.
I know. It basically does not exist. That is just not. It's just not as a factual statement that in Israel the Iran deal was even remotely popular, right, left, or center. It was not.
This moment between Bakari Sellers, Ben Shapiro, and Kevin McCarthy shows how solid facts collide with political spin. Because while Shapiro and McCarthy try to paint the Iran nuclear deal as a failure, Bakari's stance lines up with what most foreign policy experts and intelligence agencies agreed on. The deal actually worked, since under the JCPOA, Iran cut its uranium stockpile by 98% and came under the most intrusive inspections ever carried out by the IAEA, which isn't weakness but smart diplomacy. And when Shapiro and McCarthy claim Obama empowered Iran, They ignore that once the U.S. pulled out of the agreement in 2018, Iran restarted high-level enrichment and moved toward weapons-grade material faster than before. Not because diplomacy failed, but because it was abandoned. And now the same Republicans complaining about Iran's progress are the ones who dismantled the deal that kept it in check. And when they bring up the Abraham Accords, they leave out the fact that those agreements focused on normalizing ties between Israel and Arab states without addressing Iran's nuclear program at all. And after those accords, Iran actually grew more aggressive in the region, filling gaps left by failed U.S. strategies. So Bakari's position isn't soft but realistic, because he knows that isolating Iran only empowers its hardliners while engagement creates leverage. And unlike McCarthy and Shapiro's fear-driven talking points, Sellers understands that diplomacy backed by firm oversight is how you stop wars before they happen.